So the first thing I thought would be easy for the Taiwanese women who live in Perth to bring an object from their home and to share with the Perth local artists. So this is kind of a initial thought to help these Taiwanese women to feel comfortable to talk about something from their home to represent the Taiwanese culture. And then for the local artists to be interested, because visual artists always interested in the object and the story. The second stage for this project is actually for the artists to create the artwork, either photography, video, artwork, painting, textile.
I choose the home ancient shrine. And that is like the thing we would come and do the worship to the past deceased ancestors. The reason I chose it because the first 2 years I arrived in Australia, I was kind of suffering from the homesick. Whenever I went back to my country, I would pray and ask them to take care of my family.
I'm adopted, so I don't have those sort of links to my past that Jenny was bringing up, if you like. So, part of that cultural tradition about venerating ancestors, I knew none of that. My idea about my ancestry, of course, is very fractured. So I immediately had a really strong emotional reaction to that object.
The beauty of this project was that, the conversations that would evolve, but also the way that Ashley would not only with an individual bring out what they had to offer, but how that could then be paired up with other cultural institutions, with academics, with performing artists, and with the audience. So, for us, when we had this view that yes, there were going to be some workshops, the artists were going to go to each other's studios and they were going to collaborate and share their stories, it became something significantly more. That through that evolution of visiting those cultural institutions, Ashley also thought it was important to bring in academics to provide talks, to provide in-conversation series forums, to form relationships with the Taiwanese Economic and Cultural Office, to bring in WAPA, and to have young students create a body of music that was about the project, that added yet another layer.
Opening were both for the welcome event for our two curator residency exchange. We had an event at the City Art Space where it was the first time we showcased these 20 posters between the pairing, but also a welcome event for the arrival of the Taiwanese artist and curator in Perth. So it was at that event, it was really powerful because we got the PICA senior curator. He was chosen to be our curator residency to going to Taiwan because the Community Arts Network sponsor all this pairing, the workshop. And so, yeah, it was in that we have lots of this, different representatives from the different organizations to be there. These people may not meet each other often or in one program, but with the international project like this, I think for me it's naturally, I didn't know it was unusual. I thought it was normal.
All of those small aspects that you add into that project make more longer lasting outcomes. So it is giving it considered ethical treatment. I think it's important to invest the time in that community to really understand it properly so that you are presenting a really authentic showcase of whatever it was that you discovered together.
As I got to know Jenny through the project, I sort of understood that yearning for, I don't know whether you'd call it home or a place to belong or something, and I think at the core of most adopted people, there is still that yearning for something. Feels like there's a piece missing. And for Jenny to make that decision to emigrate in the face of that stuff, those potential losses, I thought was an incredibly brave thing for her to do.
When it comes to projects, pre-predicting what that outcome can be is probably a danger. You have to have some structures around to scaffold you along the way, but I think being responsive to the individuals within that project is really significant.
When we do the high level of this arts and culture exchange, if we don't, at the same time, if we don't bring the audience or the people or the community with us, there's just, it's just like this sort of fly in, fly out exchange. There's no real engagement. A lot of these women, I would say 90% are non-art background. So for them to go to in an art institution or meeting an artist is really foreign. And so I think a project with the cross-culture elements here is you create that platform for these people to engage, for them to talk, by opening an opportunity, a role for them to play in the project. Because if they have a role to play, they are not just an audience, passive audience. But I think it's that kind of almost like legitimacy, then they feel comfortable to be involved.
I was so excited, and I feel very appreciated and connected with her because she could understand my homesickness, and it gave me strength, to be honest, especially the first stage when I wasn't so certain about my settling here. And as she described, you will feel some lost and disconnection, but she gave me that strength, and I feel, I found the strength through this project and opened my mind.
I do think the major barrier is a feeling of being welcomed. It's the organisation's knowledge of that community to start with. So if you were looking to present an exhibition which you wanted to talk about that culture, there's quite a lot of work to do to actually understand that. So if you don't have somebody who's already immersed, or if you haven't done your research and actually gone out and connected properly, then that's the barrier. So there's a building of knowledge that has to happen, whether it's through the people that you see to be your project manager or the curator, as it may be.
I think for the arts organization today, it's very important. They need to include different cultural backgrounds, workers or volunteers, and within either they could have a focus group, they have a board member that actually understand how to reach out this different community group. And so you could almost target, like for instance, for the show coming at PICA, the result of this 2 years residency exchange. Now we have a arts organization partnership between PICA and Taipei Fine Arts Museum. And then in a way, we focus on how we include the Taiwanese community here more in this exhibition. And so, for example, we reached to the Foguangshan Chinese language school because they have an existing Chinese teacher, and we could invite them to come to study this exhibition. So again, this is a kind of have them have a role to play, but also for the arts organization could identify what the community groups in that particular culture that actually were quite active, and that you have to find that almost like you also have to match like what they could offer you as an organization.
It's been a really nice experience to sort of step out of your normal world of work and your normal tight circle of friends and family, if you like. So it's good to sort of be open and to look for similarities between people. We weren't interested in looking for differences, if you like. We were interested in finding common ground, and it was very easy to find common ground. It wasn't difficult at all. Yeah.